G'day and welcome to a Down Under Yarn. I am your host Fiona, also known as Fifykins. If you find someone on the internet called Fifykins, it's probably me. This is episode number 56 of a Down Under Yarn, and I'm also the dyer behind Solar Flare Fibres, so there will be a bit of a shop update at the end of this podcast. Today is Thursday the 23rd of January 2014, and it's 10 to 4, so it's in the afternoon again. As you can probably hear, it's raining a bit here. We've had some exceptionally gorgeous days this week, weather-wise. Today started out overcast, and I wasn't planning on dyeing today anyway. And then the rain came about lunchtime. We had a really loud clap of thunder before. I was actually in a VKN, and it was just really loud. And I thought, I should probably turn my computer off. And then I thought, yeah. So I'm hoping to get this podcast recorded before the thunder comes back. Week that was. It's been a really busy week. The kids are back at school next Wednesday. Jasper's got 2 hours of orientation on Tuesday, but they're back at school for this year next Wednesday. So they've had almost 2 months off. And this week Jasper's been at drama school, so it meant I've had to get him there for 9 o'clock in the morning and get his lunches packed and things like that. Imogen's doing a traineeship through McDonald's as part of her studies. Just something extra she's doing. She's getting a Cert 3 in retail or hospitality or something. Sorry, makes me sound really interesting. Really interested at least. And she had some training yesterday, so she had to be somewhere at 9. And she's been working a couple of days this week as well, so trying to get things sorted. Last weekend, what happened last weekend? We did something, I can't remember what it was. Yeah, it can't have been that important. This week's episode will be called When Knitting Attacks, because I had a major snafu that I will go on about later. But apart from that, this week, it's been really hectic. Last week's update was huge. Thank you so much to everyone who just fell in love with the Winter Rainbow colourway. I've seen references to it popping up on boards all around Ravelry, and I've been getting messages from people wanting to know when it's going to be in stock again. So if you are looking for Winter Rainbow, there will be a large quantity going up tomorrow. But I will get to that at the end of the show when I do the shop update. So I think we can probably get into knitting. It's probably the quick... Oh no, and I don't think I've got anything administrative either. The only thing I did want to mention perhaps is Ravelinics, which are coming up. I've made the decision there's no way I'm going to try and do the Viagante in that time. Whilst it would be fun to try it, I have so much that I've got happening at the moment, and this week I've had hardly any time to knit at all. And if I have one of those weeks during the Ravelinics, then it's probably not something that's overly achievable. So instead I am going to knit the Far Away So Close shawl, which is a Karina Spencer shawl, and hopefully get a pair of socks in as well. I managed to catch an update from Nicole C. Mendez, who lives in Germany, earlier in the week, and I have some self-striping rainbow yarn coming my way, which I'm exceptionally excited about. If you watch The Giving Flower with Kimberlolly and Nicole are very close friends, and Kimberly goes and helps Nicole dye at times, and she raves about her yarn, so I'm really excited, and I may have also got a bit of fibre coming as well. Anyway, knitting-wise, I have no finished objects. I had hoped to get one finished, but it just didn't happen. I'm going to show you first the watermelon socks for Imogen. Now, yes, I cast on the first sock back at Bendigo last year. That's how long these have been on the needle, since February, since July last year. So I really, really want to get them done. For a while there, they were sitting as semi-purse knitting, but not really purse knitting, and I'd get a round or two done, but not much more. I had finished the first sock a while ago. Part of it with these is Imogen has massive, massive feet. She wears size 12 or 13 shoes, so you can see, I mean, I think that's long. That's almost the length of my arm. That's pretty long. And I weighed the yarn and tried to get halfway, so as you can see, I didn't quite get the leg as long as the foot, but I don't think that's really going to matter. These are basically a generic vanilla sock toe-up pattern. However, I am doing the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, and that's when magic happened on the first one, when I showed you couple of months ago now probably, the stripes just magically occurred in the right spot so that half the heel is one stripe, the other half is the other. This is Yarn vs Zombies self-striping yarn. It is fantastic. I can't remember the name of the base. I should have looked it up. It is in my project notes, but it's a merino nylon high twist and beautiful to knit with. Kiki does an amazing job with her dye work, and as you can see, well, as you can't see, where the colours join. So yeah, really love this. Imogen is a watermelon nut. So she's looking forward to getting these, and she does keep asking me, Mum, where are my socks? What's happening to them? So that was the first sock. The second sock I picked up last week, and I think I was up to about there. So I've knit all the way up the foot. I've done the second heel, and magic happened again. You know, it's just a fluke. I know it's a fluke, but it's still nice when it does happen. And I've started going up the leg. I think I've got about 12 stripes to go, so I'll definitely get this finished this week. Definitely. And then I can have a finished object, because I haven't actually had a finished object all year. And I'm sort of getting a bit about that. I've had so much on the needles. The second thing I'm not going to show you, that's my knitting attack. And that's my attacked knitting. And that is my Follow Your Arrow knit along shawl. Silly me, when the clue came out at 8 o'clock, 8:30 on Monday evening, decided I can do this. I can power through some of this now. So I powered through probably about a third of it. The Follow Your Arrow shawl by Isolde Teague has 2 options each week. Thank you so much. I've had a few people comment to send me messages with the maths, and yes, it does make perfect sense. It's over 5 weeks, and there's 32 different options at the end, because each week you're multiplying by 2. So this week there will be 4 options, next week there will be 8 options, following week 16 options, the following week 32 options. I'm doing one shawl. There are some people who are doing multiple shawls. Good luck to them. I want to do one shawl and get this one shawl finished. So I decided I'd done clue 1B, which was the semicircular. I can show you. This is something I prepared earlier. This is the clue from last week. Yes, as I say, I did cast on the second clue. I did pick it up, and I decided I was going to do clue B again, which had some short row wedges that sort of came across, and on this clue looked really quite funky because they sort of came across here and made like a wedge in here. Well, first snafu was I misread the number of garter rows, and I thought, So I just, in the end, made up an extra couple. I made up an extra one that I needed to do on the next section. That's not going to be noticed. And as I got back to the start of the row, picking up all my wraps, I did the Fish Lips Kiss Heel short rows, the twin stitch short rows, and they were looking okay. I wasn't that dissatisfied with them. I thought, I'll just count my stitches. And I was 9 stitches out. I'm thinking, I'll count them again. And then I was 8 stitches out. And I thought, well, I'm 8 or 9 stitches out. What's happened here? And did the maths on the pattern, and the maths came out fine. And I'm thinking, no one else on the boards had mentioned there was a problem. And then I looked down and I thought, that's not right. There are spine stitches, and I'd forgotten to do a yarn over on the other side of the spine stitch, so I only had 1 yarn over. Now, it's not something you can drop down and fix up, because you've got to drop down, find the first yarn over, pick up stitches all the way up, then the next one make a yarn over, get stitches all the way up, the next one make a yarn over, etc. Just wasn't going to happen. So I just ripped it. I ripped it all the way back, and I thought I might as well do the other option, which is a lace pattern. I'm going to start that tonight. I know other people, it hasn't taken them very long to do. I don't feel behind. Yes, I feel disappointed I made that mistake, but at the same time, I wasn't quite convinced about that option with the semicircular shawl. Perhaps I am better going the safe route this week. There are 3 more weeks where I'll be able to choose different routes that I can take. So we will see. Isolde did also say on one of the boards that week 3 is almost a rest week. There is not a lot to do, whereas week 4 and 5 get a lot bigger. So I'm not I'm not worried about being behind on that. And also now that I'm not pressuring myself for the Revel NX, this can also be finished during the Revel NX as one of the works in progress. I have been doing a little bit of work on my low tide cardigan. I won't show you. I really only knit about an inch of the body this week, so hardly any at all. You know, a row here, a row there. So I'm hoping to have some time over the weekend where I can just sit and knit on that, because I would like to get that cranked out over the next couple of weeks as well. I think that was all the things I have worked on this week. Spinning. Hold your horses. Just a minute. Here we are. Just here. I did have some finished spinning. I spun my Into the World Corridale in the 22-1B colourway. This was a club colourway from October maybe. Not quite sure when. I tried to spin it thick and consistent, and I think I've actually achieved that on the whole. I have got quite a bit of twist in there, and ended up with, I think, what did I say, 122 yards. So it's actually quite a thick yarn. I soaked it and thwacked it. I don't weigh my skeins down, even if they're a bit unbalanced, because if they get wet again, they're still going to shrink up. It's not like I'm going to be judged. I'm not entering this for any judging or anything, but here we go. So that is my finished spinning there. I really love the purples and the greys and the way they melt together. And there's little pops of pink in here, little pops of all sorts of stuff. It's a really, really nicely dyed colourway. So I've been thinking, and I am going to turn this into a toy elephant. The Susan B. Anderson free pattern, and that's called... It's in my queue. It's been in my queue for a while. And if I click on that tab, there we are. The Elefante by Susan B. Anderson. I think he uses about 120 yards. I'm not going to do, it's a free pattern, I'm not going to do the crocheted ears that it calls for. I am going to knit ears. I'm not the world's best crocheter, and that will also save me a bit of yarn. So I'm hoping that this will come out quite nicely on that. So, and it was good to get some spinning finished. I wanted to be quick and fast, so I'm not that concerned that I don't have a lot of yardage from it. It's about 4 ounces. So yeah. And that is one down from my Spin the Bin challenge. So I'm almost in front on that. I've got spinning group tomorrow, which I will go off to. I'm taking another bump of fibre with me so I can start that one. So that'll have some more spinning progress as well. Acquisitions. I do have some acquisitions. The only acquisitions I've got, I can see them across the room. They're not that flash to show. Yeah, I'll get them. Quickly, just a tick. I'm here. I've started, I probably shouldn't talk when I'm off screen. I've started tidying up the back deck area and try to organise it a bit more. So I have tubs everywhere. When I got my big yarn orders in, I had them in tubs, and I had some inside and I had some downstairs, and I thought I've got to get this all organised. So I've been trying to organise all of that, organise some workspace area, but it means that I've still got a couple of piles in the middle of the floor. Anyway, this is my acquisitions. I got some Chinese knitting needles, as I showed you. When I was on eBay, I saw they had Chinese blocking mats, and I got these. They are about 8 foot square. There are 9 per packet. They aren't that thick, but I don't think that really matters. I'm not that concerned about that. They're a nice sturdy foam, and they go together. So you can get a 3x3 square from each of these. So I can get a 6x3 square, which I think will be good. I like that they're a smaller mat because they give you a bit more options for blocking things. So I got these on eBay, and I think I typed in foam play mat. I will try and find them and put up some links. I don't think I got my show notes up last week. I had awful trouble last week with iMovie. It just didn't want to compress anything. It didn't want to convert anything. And in the end, I got there. And then, of course, the internet went slow, so it took forever to upload. I think that's about it. So we might just move on to the shop stuff. So if you don't hang around for a shop, I understand. That's okay. Not a problem. I had my brainwave, I suppose, a couple of weeks ago when I decided that I wanted to do a winter rainbow colorway for the Winter Olympics and produce the winter rainbow colorway. All of them sold out Friday, Saturday last week, with people asking me for more. So I have had a bit of a marathon dye up this week. And the other thing someone else pointed out was they didn't really like a rainbow with pink in it. They prefer a rainbow with red. So I've done a second winter rainbow colourway. Now, because the weather has been so hot this week, it has meant that different things have been happening with the dyes. Now, it's one of the joys of solar dyeing. It's one of the joys of hand dyeing. I think a lot of other dyes have it as well. I've had quite a bit of colour breakage. Now, colour breakage is where the dye will separate once it's dyeing into its different colours. Now, I had one here I can show you quite nicely. Here we go, this one here. You can see that green? You can see spots of like a yellowy green there. That's where it's broken. And it's got the green, but it's also got the yellow. I had another one here, purple. The purple there, you can see the blues that come through as well. So there will be some that are like that. Now, the other thing that people have been asking about is reskeining. This colourway I reskein before I send out, because if you get something like this, it looks a bit, whereas if you get this one, these are the same yarns. One's been reskeined, this one's been reskeined, this one hasn't. Now this is the EOS base, which is 100% BFL. I've got heaps and heaps of bases going up this week. I think in all I've got about, I think I've got 10, I've got about 10 skeins of each going up in the shop. So about 20 skeins in total. Now, some of them I will be marking. So for instance, this one. There we are. That's a fantastic example of colour breakage. That there. Now, for some reason as well, the purple ran along, capillaried up the yarn during the dyeing process, and the purple almost joined with the red. Now, one of the reasons for this, I hand paint these, I wring them out really thoroughly. This is not a superwash wool, so I won't wring it. So it probably had more moisture in than, say, one of my sock yarns, because I won't wring it super tight, because I don't want to felt it. The other thing I do is I put it, usually I've got the long underbed plastic tubs. I put 2 skeins in there, I put the lid on and put that out in the sun. I actually didn't have enough tubs to do the amount of dyeing I wanted to do, so I wrapped this all in Glad Wrap. So it was in Glad Wrap inside the tubs. So there was heaps and heaps of humidity. And the humidity, I think, has also helped it move along the skein a bit. So I'll be marking this one up there as what has happened, that there isn't a lot of snow or white in between the rainbow colourways, but the colours are all still represented. Because the yarns are hand dyed, there will be occasional speckles of other colours, sometimes when the dyes break. I did a custom order for someone. Lo and behold, between the green and the blue, the white section was a pale pinky lilac-y colour. And I actually showed it to her, and she said, look, do you think I mind having any more colour? And that was just the dyes breaking. And it's like, it still dumbfounds me. But then again, I know that some of my greens I put red in. Some of my purples I put yellow in. So I know that dyes are blended together. The primary winter rainbow, it's going to be called Winter Rainbow Primary, does have the red, and it's got a different blue. It's sort of a mid-blue in there. Whereas here is the Winter Rainbow from last week, which has the pinky colour, and its blue is a lot more sort of almost an aqua-y type blue. Here you can see where it's capillaried up a little bit. It's not going to be noticed when you're knitting this up. I don't believe This one has some of them. There's a couple of skeins that on the yellow I've got a couple of splotches. I'm going to be marking them down because they're not what I would consider to be, 100% fantastic skeins. But I will put that in the descriptions. And because this podcast's late, for all I know, people are probably going to be watching this and they're going to go to the shop and they're going to go, it's all gone. So I do apologise. Now, the difference between the winter and summer rainbows, here we go. So you can see there's pink in this one. In this one. I'm mirrored on the screen, I think. And there's red in this one. The blues, as I said, were different. The yellows are different. Now, the yellow in the primary rainbow as well has been splitting quite a bit. I don't think I brought up a skein of split yellow. Or is this one? No, this one did not split very much at all. You can see some, can't actually see very much on the screen, but there are some little darker spots of yellow. Usually it splits into an orangey sort of colour. I suspect the yellow that I use on this, because I've got 2 different yellows that I use. Actually I have 3 or 4 different yellows I use now, but these are the 2 main ones that I use. This one I think has a bit more of a reddy orangey undertone. I blend most of my colours when I dye. I don't have any greens, for instance, in dye powders or dye stocks. I don't have any purples. I don't have any oranges. I have browns. I have blacks. I have greys. I have 3 or 4 different blues now. So, for instance, the Eyes Have It, the beautiful blue colourway, is actually a blending of different blues together. And that's how I prefer to do things, to make things a bit different. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm just saying it's how I do things. So I will have some Winter Rainbow going up in the EOS colourway. In the EOS base, I've also wound up a skein. I was doing some rescaling this morning. This is in the Zoya base, Zoya Thick, which is the DK / it's almost a light worsted base as well. I have some of the Winter Rainbow, which has the pink base to it here, and again in Zoya there. Can you see some of the barber polling through there? Perhaps if I find another bit, there we are. You can see on the greens there, it has the barber pole effect on it, and also on the EOS base. I have wound up a skein of the Boulder base, which has the sparkles in it, because people have been asking me how it knits up. So this evening I'm hoping to cast on a pair of socks for myself. I grabbed a skein that had a splotch in the yellow and thought, oh, I can use that. So I'm going to cast on a pair of socks. I'm not sure when they're going to get finished, but as long as I have some toes and perhaps a little bit of foot, so I'm thinking of doing 2 at a time toe up. With this, I can then show people how it pulls, what actually happens. So that is that. That is all the rainbows. Apart from the rainbows, I started dyeing for the Zombie Net Apocalypse. It is 4 months away, and I thought I don't have the capacity, using solar dyeing, I don't have the capacity to dye, to stand in front of a stove with a few pots and dye more and more and more, because it takes longer to dye. And I have 15 large jars and I have about 20 smaller jars, and the smaller jars are usually when I dip things in, so I have different corners in them at different times before moving them around. So it's not like I can dye 20 skeins in the little jars. I can really usually only dye about 4 or 5 with the amount I've got at the moment. Plus I've got my tubs, my plastic tubs, and my underdrawer things as well. And I thought, I don't want to be getting to May and freaking out that I've got nothing to take. So my plan at the moment is to start things that I'm dyeing for updates or for orders from people, with the exception of the rainbows because they're going up this week. I'm dyeing extras that will be going off to the Zombie Net Apocalypse, and also putting a couple in the shop as well. And then if they don't sell in the shop, I just take them along with me as well. So it means that there will be multiples of most skeins that I take, and I'm hoping to take a variety of bases. So this week, I dyed up for a custom order for someone This is Monsterfied, which is a green. It's actually probably a bit brighter than what it's showing there. Can we get it? Come on. Doesn't really want to show me, but still, it's a beautiful bright green with purple. Sorry, I'm just trying to skein this up. I just grabbed it from downstairs and tried to hand skein it. And I'm not very good at tight twisting hand skeins. This is probably the worst skein I've done in a while. But just to show you, Monsterfied, that will be going in. This is on the Apollo base, which is 80% BFL, 20% nylon. So there is that. I have some bougainvillea, and this has also been hand skein. I'm not going to bother retwisting this. This is on the boulder base, so you can see the sparkles on there. So it's a gorgeous pink. Would make a really beautiful pair of socks, or if you wanted to use some sparkles in a shawl or something, or a hat, sparkly hat maybe. There is that. That is going up. I also have two new colourways. The first one I'll show you. I have the other base that's going to be launching this week in the shop is the Zoya base, the fingering weight Zoya. So I've got the DK weight that's been in there for a few weeks. The fingering weight is going in. Now the fingering weight is 400 and... I need to double check this for you. I don't have show notes. It's 400 yards, 366 metres, 100 grams, 100% merino. So it's 2 plies of merino, 1 ply of superwash merino, and that gives it sort of the Barber Pole effect. This is a new colourway that's going up in the shop. You can see it has greens and greys, and I am calling this one Jungled Concrete. I have to think, but it's called Jungled Concrete. So it has the greens, it's got 2 or 3 different greens in there, and then greys, and the greys are different as well. This one I did by the dipping that I do in the little jars. So I had it sort of in, you know, three wedges in the greens, 3 different greens. Then I came back later on when that had fully set. Even though there might have been a little bit of colour left in there, I added some grey to it, moved them around, and dropped other bits in the grey. So that is that one. And that is zombie. I've got zombies on the brain. Zombies on the brain. Jungled Concrete. So that will be going up in the shop. The other one is this one here. That's actually quite accurate for the colourway. It is a really pretty greeny, goldy colour. It's sort of semi-olivey in parts. Definitely not a bright green. I used one of my new yellows that I got in a couple of weeks ago to try out what that would be like blending with a blue, and use a different blue as well, and really, really like this colourway. So this will be going up. Now, I'm still umming and ahhing over names. And there'll be a name on it when it goes into the shop. And so I've got photos and I'm going to have to get it up soon. So that makes it a huge update, and it is going to be a very big update. 9:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is Brisbane time zone if you're looking for time zones. That'll be tomorrow morning. So that will be going up then. I think that's about it. I've had inquiries about quite a few things this week, and I can't remember what else there is, and I'm just... Anyway, there's a bit of thunder if you heard that. Actually, it might have been a plane. I lie. Actually, I don't know if it was thunder or a plane. It could have been both. Anyway, I think that's about it. Update tomorrow. I'm going to get some knitting on, get some spinning on, and get more things happening. So, until next... Oh, no, I know, this weekend. This weekend is the Australia Day long weekend. Australia Day has a checkered history. It commemorates the landing of the First Fleet in 1788, which some people call it Invasion Day. It's the first white settlement en masse in Australia. It's a public holiday. It falls on Sunday, so they give us Monday off as well. Both days are considered public holidays, though. So we're going to a barbecue on Sunday with the South African community, and then one of our favourite restaurants is closing down. They're having a special party, so we're heading along to that. The Clever Duck, which was just a fantastic establishment, really, really good, but their lease has run up and they've decided not to renew in their current spot, which is a shame because it's a really fantastic spot that they've been. So there's that. Monday is a public holiday as well, and not sure what's happening then. I don't think we've got much planned at all, which will be really lovely. Tuesday, Jasper's got orientation, and Wednesday, the kids are back at school. Yes. Although I feel quite old because I'm going to have both kids in high school, and Imogen's going to be senior. She's year 11 this year. So this year, next year, her final years at school, and her grades from this year count towards her high school certificate. Queensland does things exceptionally strangely, and I still haven't got my head around it. You get your Queensland Certificate of Education, your QCE. That does not give you entry into a university. If you want to go to a university, you have to sit the QSC, Queensland Study Skills, whatever it is, the Queensland Study Skills exam. That gives you an overall position, an OP number, which is what the universities use. That's then converted if you want to apply to a university interstate. That is based on one exam on one day, and I'm not at all happy about that. I think that's just bad pedagogy, but it is what it is, and that's the way it's been, and that's the way it's always been. I believe there is change on the way, which might help for Jasper. So he is off to year 8, which is high school, which he's looked at his teacher, he's looked at his timetable, and he reckons it's sort of okay. So we'll wait and see how things go. Anyway, I think that is about it. So I will say, Uru, cheers, bye.